open the scripture. Last time, talking about the desire realm, right? The so-called 4 heavenly kings, the peach and plum heaven. False words, the demon king leads the heavens, drawing down to the heaven of peach blossoms, the heaven of freedom. Talking about this section. What about this section? We've talked about the 4 heavenly kings. What's important is to understand the teachings of the 4 heavenly kings. Only then can we truly benefit from it. So simply put, this is the Eastern heavenly king of the 10 kingdoms. We, as the name suggests, this heavenly king teaches us how do you keep your country everlasting prosperity and not decline. So, from this meaning, we can extend it. How can we protect our own home? How can we protect ourselves in this life of ours? Establishing achievements and making a name for oneself. The Young Ming School. To know future generations. This is what we experience in our lifetime. Real achievements. So this meaning is very deep and broad. The Southern Heavenly King teaches us, demands, times are always progressing. So we often say that some people just can't keep up with the times. The meaning is right here. The times are getting worse every day. Innately, we are progressing, and this progress can be towards goodness or towards material things. This is something we can't afford to overlook. If we strive towards goodness, this is the positive side. A prosperous nation and a peaceful people with favorable winds and timely rains. If we strive towards the negative aspects like greed, anger, ignorance, and arrogance, then it will definitely bring about the anime of this society. Wishes are in, human disasters, and everyone has to suffer. This is something we must clearly discern. So, as mentioned earlier, all the Buddhas praise the world honored one. The suffering, it has been revealed. This sentence is remarkable. True happiness isn't just about the joy of this life. Next life. Future generations will always be similar, and that is true happiness. If we say that in this life we want to settle down, if you suffer in the next life, then that's just wrong, mate. Absolutely dead wrong. There are so many beings who find joy in this life, but will face suffering in the next. We really need to be aware of this. While enjoying pleasures, we end up creating karma. This is something we must stay alert about. While indulging in pleasures, we end up creating karma. This blessing has been fully enjoyed. Woe ye previously, then you should head to Santu to collect the report. This is a massive mistake. So, the southern heavenly king represents the diligence of wisdom, the diligence of reason. It's not about obsession, it's not about feelings. Western heavenly king. The king of broad eyes. It encourages us to look more, which means to learn more. The northern king is the king of many hearings. Look and listen more. Forever. Living in Shu Wei. That is to say, forever I am a student. Only to attain the ultimate and complete Buddha fruit. This is truly the Master of Shu Wei. Are you waiting for the Bodhisattva, or are you still a student? Hu Quanqing. You should always remain in the position of a student. Keep learning endlessly. Live and learn. Learn until you're old, but you can never stop learning, right? That's the idea. A lifetime of learning even when you're old. In Buddhism, we refer to someone as a learner, which means being a student. Learning is also about being a good person, you know. People's faces are all about learning to be good people. Who can make a person perfect without a single flaw, becoming a Buddha? Only the Buddha is a complete person. We need to understand this principle and study it seriously. Yeah. So, the props were used for the 4 days. Are we using words that everyone can understand now? Props? Yeah. The way. Expressing Dharma. Let me show you. Once you come into contact with it, you'll understand the great principles of the universe and life. You should know. Yeah, you need to grasp this principle when you learn. The Eastern Heavenly King is holding a pipa, which is a musical instrument. It's not that he likes singing and dancing, so if that's what you're thinking, you're mistaken. He uses this to represent. How are you? Protect your country. To protect the country, the most important thing is to follow the middle way. Confucianism talks about loyalty and bravery. Yeah, the way of loyalty and bravery. Buddhism speaks of the middle way as the highest principle. He uses this musical instrument to express himself. You see, if you tighten this string too much, it'll snap. What about pine? Its yin doesn't make any sound. You really have to adjust it just right. That's the idea of being just right. Not too tight and not too loose. That's what we call the middle way, expressing this meaning. The brilliance of the sage lies in understanding the middle way. Not leaning to either side. So this is a prop. The Southern Heavenly King is holding gold. See the table, the Wisdom Sutra. That's what it means. The northern heavenly king guards this, while the western heavenly king is holding a dragon, or blood. The dragon tongue is found in India and in China. Everyone thinks, yeah, it will change. It represents this society. Everything and everyone, all things are constantly changing and transforming. See it clearly. So in the right hand, there's a pig. This pig represents the unchanging. Amidst all the changes, you hold on to the unchanging principles. This unchanging aspect is what we call a stillness. It's about stillness. Master this principle. Dealing with people and situations takes time. No matter how society changes, if you hold onto the principles, you'll handle things smoothly. You can teach and guide. All heavenly kings hold a prop, an umbrella. You can teach and guide freely. Each of the heavenly kings holds a prop, which is an umbrella. This represents the prevention of pollution. When there's no pollution, this umbrella is put away. Thirdly, it represents the prevention of pollution. No pollution, umbrella away. Pollution, umbrella opens. When there's pollution, the umbrella opens up. We were talking about this society earlier. Everyone is aware of the serious pollution. The randomness of the mind, the pollution of the spirit. Thoughts, that's the indirect pollution. Physiological pollution. Outside, it's the pollution of the environment. Now we're going to create the likeness of the four heavenly kings. The northern heavenly king, that umbrella needs to be opened up. It can't be put away now. Because you need to understand this principle. Umbrella needs to be raised up. So the significance of this education is really, really profound. We can't treat it like some kind of deity. That would be a mistake. That's superstition. Taking the subway, we Chinese take this deity, known as the Jade Emperor. Probably in many foreign religions, the god or lord they refer to is him. In every layer of heaven, there's a deity, right? There's always a leading figure, right? Why are we so sure that it's the peach and plum heavenly king and not some other heavenly king? Seeing their classics. The method of practice involved in the theory he talked about is very similar to Tao Linping's. By cultivating the 10 good deeds of the Taoist path, one can achieve rebirth. Let's take a look at the Christian scriptures. Moses had a world. That is very similar to the 10 good deeds path. So we really need to understand this. It's not just about believing in God to be saved. That's not how it works. You need to follow the teachings of the Church of God. God teaches you in the scriptures how to act, and you need to follow through on that, all right? If you don't do it, you can't ascend to heaven. It has conditions. This is what you call reasonable, fair, and legal. When we chant the Buddha's name to seek rebirth in the Pure Land, there are also conditions. It's not just about believing, and then you can be reborn. That won't work. Now there are some people advocating for the practice of chanting the Buddha's name with the original vow. I vow to seek rebirth, so I'm definitely going to be reborn. Is it really that simple, though? The wish must have form. That wish is what you call a true wish. The Buddha has mentioned this in the scriptures, I don't know how many times. The more you don't act, the more it's called empty talk. That wish is just an illusion. It can't be fulfilled. So you need to understand this principle. All right, the Buddha doesn't deceive people. It's you who deceives yourself, and that's a big loss. The wish to build a practice throughout one's life. So why do we place such importance on the three folds and six harmonies? This is the fundamental teaching that the Buddha gives us in the Infinite Life Sutra. Blessings from the three ages. Cultivate principles. Believe in Amitabha Buddha and the Pure Land. Rebirth in the Pure Land needs pure deeds and faith in Amitabha. Achieve three Buddhas. We believe in Amitabha Buddha, believe in the Western Pure Land, and wish to be reborn in the Western Pure Land. At the very least, you should achieve the three Buddhas. If you can't achieve three folds, you won't be reborn. Chanting daily is in vain if not achieving at least one of the three folds. This is the truth, not just empty talk. At the very least, you need to achieve one of the three folds. Then you be reborn. Achieve the first principle, filial piety, honoring teachers, compassion, and not killing. These lead to good deeds. Aspire, chant Buddha's name, seek rebirth in Pure Land for future generations. In the next life. You need to achieve the second principle, and of course, that includes the first one as well. And if you can also uphold the three regulations, stay true to the precepts, and not violate the rules of conduct, then you'll be able to avoid being scattered in the end. Believe in cause and effect, inspire others. You can further elevate yourself. If you can generate the body-mind, deeply believe in cause and effect, and encourage millions to practice the teachings, that's a real achievement. This is the fundamental teaching. It doesn't say that one can be reborn into the Pure Land just by making a vow without practicing. Buddha, there is no such saying. You absolutely mustn't misunderstand this. You can't let this incredible opportunity in this life slip right past you. The original vows of Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva are fundamental teachings. What does the full picture talk about? It talks about the first aspect. Filial piety to parents, respect for teachers, cultivating a kind heart, doing the 10 good deeds, is what this sutra often talks about. So if you want to ask, how to explain these 4 lines from the first Buddha, this Earth Store Sutra is the commentary on that. Practicing in a way that isn't proper. It reminds me of what the Master said, everyone who practices will go. Not a single one will be missed. If you don't practice properly, won't be able to go. The Buddha didn't say anything wrong. It's you who misunderstood the meaning. The Buddha also teaches us in the Infinite Life Sutra filial piety and Buddhism. It teaches us to respect teachers and uphold the way. Yes, this is the teaching of the Earth Store Sutra. So it's really important to understand these principles. Preface of sequence, Heaven of the Gods. It's also called the Heaven of the Night. This. The name of the region should be the Void Wilderness Heaven. The Lord of the Void Wilderness Heaven, known as the Heaven of the Night. Will ye? Shu, this is Shu Mariang. The return journey means wonderful goodness. Now we have an old monk from Putuo Mountain with the same name. This experience is joyful. Red joy. Practice 10 good deeds and focus with meditation for rebirth. You need to add in some meditative power to achieve victory, mate. But if you only practice the 10 good deeds, it won't work. You won't be able to be reborn. You'll just end up in Peach and Plum County. And to go further up, you need to put in some effort in meditation. To be honest, you also need to cultivate compassion and learn about the heart of compassion. This, is a subject that the deities of the form realm practice. They also cultivate it. But of course, the effort can't compare to the depth of the heavenly beings in this world. But it's not that there isn't any. Going up each level requires meditative effort. Good on YA, we're talking about accumulating merit and virtue. Generation after generation, it keeps increasing. So, gradually, you rise up. It's not that simple, mate. Everyone think about it. It's not easy to ascend to heaven, let alone to go to the Western Pure Land to become a Buddha, right? We can't take this matter too lightly, right? We can't just see it as an easy thing. Don't see it as too hard, or you won't practice. Too easy. If you see it as too easy, being careless will definitely lead to mistakes. So the beings in the desire realm cultivate the higher quality of the 10 bodies. They also have some flavor in there. They cultivate concentration and meditative power. You haven't reached a certain level yet. When you reach a certain level, that certain level is about completely assisting with desire. We're talking about desire. Buddha can be summarized into 5 points. Wealth, lust, fame, food, and sleep. It's called the 5 desires, and these 5 desires they support each other. Even though that root hasn't been severed, it won't manifest in action. This is how one can reach the world. But they have the 5 desires of the Buddha, yet the Buddha doesn't sever them. In other words, as you go higher up in the 6 heavens, the desires become more and more subtle. If this desire is completely assisted, then right in front of him, he truly won't be moved or have any thoughts arise. He'll reach the world. Right in front of him, he truly won't be swayed or have any thoughts arise. He has reached the world. This concentration work, even if it's achieved, he can give rise to the 10 levels of production. There are 18 levels of heaven, so let's take a look at the first scripture. The heavy heaven, the mortal realm heaven, and the great Brahma heaven. This is a mistaken production. These 3 types of heavens. When we say 3 layers, in reality, it's just 1 layer. But the enjoyment of this blessing, it's different. The heavy heaven is like ordinary people. Ordinary people. Anti-corruption, it's like the ministers. This is for those in high positions. Those in high positions enjoy more than common people. What about the great Brahma heaven? It's like the king, and blessings there are greater. There are 3 kinds of joy. Within the same level of heaven, there are 3 different kinds of enjoyment. Production, the production of the world. They may have their enjoyment. Everyone needs to understand this. No thoughts. Then the mind is pure. Opposite. To make it like ancient India, to translate it into Chinese means purity. You see, the production comes from a pure heart. Going further up, well, that's a whole different story. The higher you go, the purer it gets. It's called the second Zen, called the light of heaven. The shining heaven, of infinite light, the light of heaven and the shadow of heaven. The ancients said that the initial production, well, it seems to have a similar organization to our human society. There are the people, and there are the bureaucrats. But once you go beyond the second production, there's no longer an equal world. It's a true republic now. There aren't any kings or ministers. Everyone is completely equal. Even with inequality, the blessings still vary. Where do the differences arise? It's likely the effort in practice differs, right? For example, when we're at school, all in the same class, it's quite orderly, right? But when it comes to exams, there's a first place, a second place, and the rankings are all different. There's difference within the sameness. Before becoming a Buddha. This phenomenon exists. Even among the equal enlightenment bodhisattvas, when they come together, there are still first, second, and third places. Only when you reach the state of the Tathagata is there complete equality. In the state of the Tathagata, all differences are gone. These 4 are not hard to understand. The shining heaven has a bit less light. Compared to others, it's a bit dimmer. The infinite light, the light of heaven, is a bit brighter. Where does the light come from? Let me tell you all. A pure heart shines. A pure heart. so that's why it's shy. Actually, everything in the universe has its past. The day before yesterday, this guy showed me a photo of some kind of device that can take pictures of people's light. He went and had a go at it, and then brought the photo to show me. I told him, "You better not fall for it." Got tricked by someone. Hey, it's true that people have light, and so do things. You can also have a chat with the plants. This is true. Every person's light has different colors and sizes. So for those who practice Qigong generally, you can see it. Those who have achieved a state of concentration, well, that's a whole different level. I can see the light radiating from you. Those who practice Qigong talk about Qi. They say this is Qi. Practice meditation.